Hey, what's up? It's Sushi, and today I'm making a follow-up video to my last guide about how to efficiently build your Shadowhunter with a bunch of options that you have on either going all the way whale, going efficient, going optimal, all that kind of stuff, and how you would best go about that right now with our current marketplace. So if you haven't watched that video, I definitely recommend watching that one first. But basically, in that video, I talk about a crit version of Shadowhunter Demonic Impulse and a swiftness version of Shadowhunter Demonic Impulse. And this week, I was lucky enough to be able to snipe the accessories from the auction house that I needed in order to complete the 5x3 grid for the swiftness build that I talked about in that video, which is Grudge level 3, Keen Blunt Weapon level 3, Raid Captain level 3, Demonic Impulse level 3, and Adrenaline level 3. And this is all while still only having Demonic Impulse as my only completed legendary engraving book set. All 5 of my new accessories I had to buy to complete this build costed a total of 102,000 gold. I sold my old set for around 70,000 gold, and my stone cost me about 20,000 gold to make a 7/7, which admittedly is pretty lucky. But with all of that added up, that means that I made a true endgame 5x3 all correct main stat demonic impulse build for 240k gold. That is less than the cost of completing 2 legendary engraving book sets, and it is less gold than just completing Grudge's legendary book set by itself. So even though those numbers might sound out of reach for some of you guys, it's something that you build up to daily and throughout the week. Buy a book here and there to get your demonic impulse class engraving, camp the marketplace, always make sure you're holding on to 30-40k so that way you have enough to snipe an accessory if it goes up, and that kind of stuff, etc, etc. So to finish up the follow-up from the last video, I recommend you get into a 3x3, get into a 4x3, start working on your Demonic Impulse class books, start working towards that 4x3 plus 2 that we talked about in the last video, and then eventually make the jump to 5x3, sell your old accessories, it'll help pay for it, that kind of stuff. Focus your extra money on your attack gem, your cooldown gem. That's going to be the biggest thing that's going to give you a jump over a level or 2 on a single engraving. That being said, I have made some other adjustments to my character since my last video. I finally completed the plus 20 on my weapon. I upgraded it to a placeholder relic weapon so that I can start working on the quality. And I changed my 7/7 demonic skill gems to a level 9 attack and a level 8 cooldown reduction. And boy, do I feel those upgrades in every single piece of content that I go through in this new set. In the last video, I was doing a 1.8 million DPS sustained 2.5 minute parse, and now I am doing a 2.28 million 2.5 minute sustained DPS parse. The reason I picked 2.5 minutes to gauge my improvements on my character personally is because I like to include Awakening as I would use it in a regular fight, and the cooldown is 5 minutes, so stopping at 2.5 shows the average DPS included in an Awakening during a fight. And as I talked about in the last video, in the swiftness build, with the amount of swiftness I was luckily able to get on my necklace for this build, along with the upgrade to a level 8 cooldown demonic skill gem, I am able to consistently and more reliably get 3 blood massacres and 3 leaping attacks off every single demon cycle, even in a real boss fight. Even if I don't end up hitting them if the boss moves away, I at least get the chance to attempt hitting 3 of them every single cycle. And that's what makes the swiftness build feel so good. You have the chance to hit so many more ultis, you're using so much more regular abilities, your cooldowns are coming up faster, during burst periods you feel like you're getting more done, you have more movement speed, everything just feels a lot more fluid in the fight. So now let's move to some footage of my Valtan Hard clear from this week. And so here we're going to start in the latter half of the fight, where it stops being just push an HP bar limit, and then he goes invulnerable, you wait, all that kind of stuff. This is really where the fight starts opening up to what you can get away with greed, what you can get away with trades, that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to play perfectly in this clip, but I am going to do a few 3x rotations in a real raid fight, which is what I'm trying to show off here, along with just getting just a nasty amount of uptime in like little free periods. I end up 25% crueling this fight and MVPing from it, and oh god, it felt so good to see that come off of all of these upgrades and the build changes that I've made this week. Also, even in just human form like this, just getting your meter up during these like free little periods with the increased attack speed that you have, it just feels so good. It feels so fluid. I feel like I'm never gonna get like animation locked and like screw myself anymore, basically. I feel like everything is fast enough where it's like, okay, if I'm safe when I start casting it, I'm gonna stay safe when I'm done casting it. I take a few trades in here where I get knocked back, but it's never by something that can kill me. It's never by something that's gonna be lethal, right? And that's really the most important thing in trying to keep uptime in a real fight, is just taking enough damage, getting hit enough, you know, getting enough space for your team, doing enough of the mechanics where you're filling your part and you're not, you know, you're not inting yourself or your team, but you're getting off really as much as you can pump comfortably. And here is another one of those phases where, you know, you take advantage of Balf buff, you take advantage of the time stop potion, and get your meter back up while you're invulnerable to getting pushed. So that way you can go straight back into the burst right when he is up again in ghost form. So he's going to come up. I'm going to try to get my damage amp on him once he's vulnerable. He does spin, so I jump out, then immediately back in with the burst, leaping into Blood Massacre, dodge the crab, and then the spin grab. And from here on out, my job isn't to do any of the counters. I trust my team, my static well enough to do all of that. I'm just here to keep uptime on boss, make sure I'm using all of my skills right when they come off of cooldown, and then, of course, pausing during periods like this so I don't knock my whole team off with a counter, but just absolutely laying it into him, trying to recognize patterns that I can get away with. I get hit by some stuff like that by just being a little bit too greedy, not backing up for a second, but never anything that, like I said, is going to put my life in danger, is going to end up having me throw for the team. Like that, there was nothing that was going to combo me on that hit. Recognizing free patterns like this for non-back attackers, where this is basically just 10 seconds of free wailing every time he casts that skill. Recognizing when there's going to be a big slam in the front, or it's going to come back and make a T, you have to adjust. Of course, he does predetermined grabs every time you hit a certain bar threshold, and we are absolutely nuking his HP right now. Quick jump out, jump back in. The entire time we were out of that spin, all of our skills were on cooldown. We were losing nothing. End up having to hold a little bit here to his counter, but we got off the leaping and the Blood Massacre before the pause. And we're going to jump back in here, try to get a third wave, and we get a third wave of both of them. It just, it feels so good to do that in a real fight. And you have that opportunity a lot. It's not even just like a once in a blue moon. There was a few times throughout this fight where had he not gone invulnerable from us pushing him, I would have gotten it off way, way, way more times during the first half. And yeah, we just knock him the fuck down, easy peasy. And it just, I honestly, I cannot preach how much I recommend the Swift build. It's super fun, it's super clean, and even if you can't go straight to 5x3, I recommend doing it in the efficient budget build that I talked about in the last video. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show you guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.